Well, guys, most of you would want to be on the speaking tour, too, if you had someone this beautiful introducing you. There is an old saying in Central America that if you have a good vocabulary, a stool, and a microphone, then someday you may become dictator. So I want to thank the Houston Racquet Club for the stool that I am standing on and for the microphone. If I can just improve my vocabulary skills, I may yet become dangerous. In the meantime, I'm Jeff Nichols. Most of you don't know me, but because of your involvement in the American Heart Association, we were destined to meet. You would be a giver and needed to be thanked. I am a taker, and I came to say thanks. I really am grateful to the Houston Post and Channel 13. They did stories on me a few weeks ago. Since then, I've become famous. I never realized how many important people are reached by these. 3 weeks ago, I received a letter, and it said, "Don't give up. There's a place in the world for little boys. I know that you can make it, because I did." It was from Dan Quayle. The day before yesterday, a card came in the mail and said, "If you see something you want, go for it. Be aggressive. Never give up. Die hard." It was from Saddam Hussein. You're probably wondering why I was chosen over everybody else to be here tonight. The big reason? There wasn't anybody else. The other reason is because of my involvement in stand-up comedy. Some of you are actually asking yourself, how long has he been doing stand-up comedy? I feel that I should share with you that I am awaiting an official invitation to be on The Tonight Show. In fact, I've been waiting 3 months for Jay Leno to return my call. If he doesn't call by the end of the year, I'll be forced to cancel them from my schedule and go on to bigger and better things. You know, being a heart patient isn't all that bad. In fact, I enjoy 3 privileges that most everybody in the world is envious of. First of all, most girls want to know what diet I'm on to keep my weight down. Why are you so skinny? How do you do it? Number 2, people tell me that I don't look my age. So young, so youthful. Some say, "Jeffrey, you look so immature." I suppose that means young. And number 3, being a heart patient, people are always feeling sorry for me. And everybody I know likes attention. So the big 3 today is diet, youth, and attention. And I've got all 3. And you know, I've noticed at school, all the girls my age like the guys that are macho. You know, tall, dark, and handsome. Well, being a heart patient, I've had to settle for short, light, and cute. I guess 3 out of 4 is not bad. When I was born, the doctor thought that I was just a large C-section baby who didn't get all the fluid out of my lungs, that I would be all right in a week to 10 days. At the end of the 1 week, my doctor began to suspect something might be wrong with my heart. My cardiologist, Dr. Michael Nichols, who is present tonight, had checked me over and had me transferred out. It would be the first of many trips to Texas Children's Hospital. After further testing, they had discovered that 1 lung had collapsed in the upper lobe and was overextended in the lower. The cath showed that I had pseudotrunkus, which means no pulmonary artery. Only small blood vessels were taking the blood to my lungs. There was a hole between the bottom chambers of my heart that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because that allowed the red and the blue bloods to mix. I spent 5 weeks in intensive care on a respirator and had lots of tubes and equipment. I lost 2 pounds during that time. That was the beginning of my famous weight loss program that was to follow me through life. I lost 20% of my body weight in just 30 days. As young as I was beginning to see that Texas Children's was going to be my kind of place. On Thanksgiving Day, I was transferred to intermediate care and was still on oxygen. Later, the nurses could not get my visual attention and thought all the long time on oxygen had made me blind. Tests proved otherwise. Actually, what it was, I was in deep, deep concentration. I was working on the speech for tonight. On December 16, 1977, I went home. My mom spent 2.5 hours of every 4 hours taking care of me. She fed me every hour, around the clock. While in the hospital, I was fed on a milk drip. While doing that, I forgot how to suck. Talking about the pits, a baby that can't suck? Because of that, Mom had to learn how to put a tube down my nose to my stomach so I could eat. I remember wanting to ask Mom if we were having fun yet. On January 6, 1978, I went back to the hospital for another 10 days. Nothing important. They just thought I was dying. My parents were then informed that I would be in and out of the hospital for almost every little thing. Well, after that, the years began to pass. I became stronger and bigger, not to mention sweeter. I had gained my 2 pounds back and was well on my way to becoming big. The tube and the nose meals gave way to Jack in the Box. I understood early in life why people like to eat out. As I began to grow, my lungs had difficulty receiving oxygenated blood because of my defect. I began to get weaker and short of breath, so my doctor knew that I would soon need corrective surgery. Dr. Denton Cooley was asked to do the surgery. His mission was to try to connect a small blood vessel with a conduit. If not, then he would install a Cooley shunt, as it had come to be known. Once they opened my massive chest, in June of '86, Dr. Cooley was only able to do the shunt. He told my parents that in a few years I would probably need additional surgery. I was 8 years old at the time. It was easy to tell that the surgery did me some good, because in PE, I was now able to outrun most of the girls. About 8 months ago, Dr. Nichols, after doing a heart cath, said that I would need additional surgery. The girls were starting to outrun me again. Dr. Rule, who was on Dr. Cooley's team, would be the best surgeon since he had been doing this type of surgery for about 5 years. We scheduled the surgery, and on the morning of the surgery, Dr. Rule called, and he said that we would not do the surgery. He said that I needed to wait a while. Well, one thing in life that I have learned to do is to wait. I've come down the road now 13 years in time since I was born at Rosewood Hospital on June 12, 1977. I certainly didn't expect you to show up today with all these birthday presents, but my address is available upon request, and my selections are at Toys R Us. Actually, today is not my birthday. When I first gave this talk, it was my birthday. I ask you, is it my fault you're so late inviting me? You may remember Ray Kinsella. He owned a farm in the cornfields of Iowa. He had a vision that if he would build a baseball park, then the legendary heroes of yesteryear would come to play on his field of dreams. And a quiet, persistent voice kept saying to him, if you will build it, then he will come. So he tore down the cornfields and built a baseball park in his own backyard. And sure enough, it began to happen. Shoeless Joe Jackson, who never had a second chance to return to the game, came to the cornfields to realize his dream. Doc Graham, who was never good enough to play in many games, came to fulfill his lifelong dream to get his only hit in the major leagues. But the last person to come to Ray's Field of Dreams was his own dad, John Kinsella. But the movie ended too soon. Perhaps had it fulfilled one more dream, then it would have had a better ending. And that dream would be of a little boy who never got to play the game, only with his father in the front yard if he wasn't too tired when he came home from work. So the little boy who lives in USA, America, would come to the Field of Dreams with no name, no experience, and no knowledge. But his heart would quicken as the ump said, play ball. His eyes would sparkle at the crack of a bat, and his dreams would be fulfilled as he ran the bases to the roar of the crowd. The point of the Field of Dreams is simply this. If you believe in the impossible, then the incredible can come true. Had I been born at the time of my older brothers, the doctors would have looked at my life and said, oh, that's impossible. But if I live to be 30 years old, the same doctors will have to look back and say, oh, that's incredible. Because of research today, and because of you, and because you care, then the incredible can come true. At the baseball park, they will lead us to believe that dreams are what life is made of. But at the American Heart Association, we have learned so well that life is what dreams are made of. Dr. Graham finally discovered, when he came to the field of dreams, that his real ambition in life was not getting a hit in the majors, but his real dream was doing exactly what he did in real life, helping the little children to get well, be happy, and have a better life. Before I close, I want to tell you about Gene Gates. Gene Gates was born April 11th. He had a heart problem, probably much like mine. He loved to play baseball, but the doctor said no. He persisted and persisted and persisted, but still, the doctor said no. Finally, after much more persistence, they agreed to let him play on a limited basis. There would be no uniforms, no grandstand, no PA system, just recess at school. But to Gene, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. As Gene stepped up to take his first swing of the bat, his thoughts were most likely about the Hall of Fame, home runs, and applause and appreciation. As his bat connected and he saw the ball travel to the outfield, dreams were now becoming realities. As he rounded first base, he saw that there were extra bases in order. Not bad for the first time at bats. As he rounded second, going to third, the realization that all things are possible. A late throw, off the mark, and zingo, he might even score. Between third and home plate, the real truth was about to be told. It would now be a matter of timing. The throw was on its way to the plate. Gene knew the ball was coming. It's a sixth sense that athletes have during crunch time. He knew that he would have to come in sitting down. That's what they call it when you try to slide under a throw. He had seen it done many times. Now, it would be his turn. During the next instant, 4 things would happen. 3 of them would be as planned. First, there would be a cloud of dust. And second, the ump would call the runner safe. And third, his teammates would clap and cheer because they're happy. They're happy because it was a home run. They're happy because it was his first time at bats. They're happy because it was his first game ever. When his teammates came to dust him off and pat him on the back, they were not prepared for what they had found. Their hero was still guarding the plate, almost like he didn't want to give it up. The laughter and happiness gave way to silence as the teacher called for an ambulance. It was later determined that when Gene slid into home plate, he suffered a heart attack. And on the way to the hospital, in the ambulance, he died. Probably the last thing that Gene Gates remembered in his life was a home run. It was April 1st, 1952, in Clarksville, Mississippi. He was only 9 years old. Now I tell you this story for only one reason. That is to remind you of the great advancements that have taken place for research for heart disease during the last 38 years. Much of this research would not have been possible had it not been for the help of the American Heart Association. So I stand before you this evening as a byproduct of what you're all about. And having been able to borrow time from the future, my life is evidence that what you're all about is working. So I want to thank you for what you're doing and what you're building. Because of what you're building, myself and thousands more like me and Gene Gates are able to come to our field of dreams. And the quiet little voice that you hear, even tonight, says to you, if you will continue to build it, then we will come.
Yeah, whoa.
Jeff comes with a steep feet.
Get back up there. I've had the privilege now of being with Jeff twice, and I consider that a privilege. It's an outstanding presentation and a young man I really admire. He has his dreams. I think that dream may be that similar to many of ours. And you've really done an outstanding job, and we'd like to present this to you and hope you have a place for it in your home.
Thank you very much. I do. Whoa.
You want to open?
Dad! Dad!
We open it up now.
Yeah, go ahead and open it.
Okay.
Hurry if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna love it.
It started pouring out all.
It's the back.
It's like a
It's like I got a few signatures there.
All right.
Turn around.
The real Matt Groening. For you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You got a little mic problem, so Howard and I will.
We'll fight over the same mic. I don't know how we're going to top that. I mean, really. We're not going to even try. I think I'm going to just throw this down and leave at this point. Jeff, that was excellent. That was excellent. Before we recognize those ingenuity, I'm also glad to say that I'm passing the gavels on to Larry Dagley and Gerald Nacarelli, two very competent people. But I can't emphasize more what Earl Littman said, is that these being the president and the chairman of the
Special presentation to make. The speaker tonight, Jeff Nichols. And Jeff, would you please come up? That's why I got this. There you go. Yeah. Great. Don't let him read it. Jeff has been doing many, many speeches to countless groups of the American Heart Association for volunteers and other organizations since last October. His parents, Glenn and Jean, would you please stand up so we can give you all a round of applause? Glenn and Jean really have been willing to take him everywhere to spread the message of inspiration. We want to thank Jeff and his parents so very much, and now Allison will explain just how we want to thank him.
Okay, to be honest, we tricked the Nichols family. We, with the help of some family friends, we told the family that we wanted, we wanted you to speak in Dallas. We lied. On Thursday, June 20th, Jeff, you and your parents are flying to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Courtesy of Southwest Airlines. You will be picked up by a limousine, and you'll be taken to your hotel suite at the Stoker's Hotel. A car will be yours for 3 days, courtesy of National Car Rental. You will be meeting Jay Leno. Thursday, June the 20th at 5:30 p.m. at Carson Studios. This is our gift to you for everything you've done for us. Here you go.
I hope everybody can see the expression on his parents' face. I mean, it's as good as Jeff's. And And we have never seen Jeff speechless, but look at the kid. Pardon me?
So that's the way I was when called.
Were you?
Well, you know, last night I did a joke about Lionel being out of business, and they're not out of business. So I do a joke about it tonight. So somebody said, "I'll electric train." So they sent me one. We're going to use it in the thing, but I thought you might like it. You like trains?
No, we're in.
What the heck? It's a free train set. I'm going to leave the box here. The engine and everything is, we got it out there, but we'll...
This one's not, they're not.
Oh, good. Moving pictures. Very good. We'll try to stay still.
Yeah.
We'll try not to move.
Don't y'all move. Be road.
Let's see what we got here. The story of armadillo dropping. Ah, sounds delicious. Oh, thanks.
No, I'm all right.
Well, we wanted you to have something from Texas.
Oh, this is great. Where do I go when I'm in Texas? What are you near? What big city?
Houston.
Oh, you're right near okay, Austin. Well, no, the Iron Works is in Austin. Barbecue joint. Yes, I just saw.
Hey, talk like it's your own show. It is. Oh, we're already going.
My next guest is Dave Todd.
One dear instance.
What'd you conclude with?
Right.
You know, they have a lot of
Oh, really?
they were variations on it, and they don't really come out to exactly what happened.
You know.
Speculation.
Yeah.
Good.
And I know they.
And
No, but
I know.
I was talking
they
to
present like
California, they said.
the
of course
speculation
you
and
wonderful
people.
Young Charles.
You can have the first page.
Oh, we used 3,500 real buffaloes.
Really?
But we created 25 fake buffaloes.
Oh, that was.
That was what we were looking at.
Oh, I thought you said 25 real buffaloes.
Who was the Indian lady you had on the
They
Academy Awards? Helen? She was an Indian lady that from South Dakota, wasn't she?
Doris Leader Church.
Uh-huh.
She was our, what do we call her?
Caterer. I guess she'll fly it to you, I guess.
You see Kevin Brown, I mean, that'd be too good.
It's really good. Is it good?
It is good.
She's gonna love this. I gotta go taste
She
it.
is good. You better.
Say, thanks, Luanna. She'll love it. She'll die.
The woman who made it.
Just let her know if this turns up on national TV, I get residuals.
That's funny.
Now where did I
Turning
go?
up the big strawberry. I was gonna cut strawberry.
No, I don't eat strawberries. So I better get extra grapes, right?
You got tricks. You check it off.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, you're rationing.
Yeah, we're rationing.
We're not gonna be going through after you leave.
So I said the only thing in the other one after we got past.
We talked watch a lot and then had to leave in the middle.
Yeah.
We cover his eyes.
Yeah, I had that happen to me during the graduate, I was about 4th grade.
Yeah.
My mom heard that it was the funniest movie she'd ever seen. My dad was out of town, so she took me to see this movie. And I'm watching, and all of a sudden, they end up in that bar, and that gal with the tassels. Finally, because next thing you know, a bunch of hands right around me, and I'm like trying to pull this thing down.
I do that.
I mean, it's like, okay, I won't look.
I really didn't even
I
know
won't
what was
look,
going
but just
on.
don't do that to me again, Mom.
Mom tried to throw me out of the room when we were watching My Left Foot.
Oh, I kept thinking, I don't know, I never did figure out why that was so hard.
The language is just.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't
Yeah,
bad.
It
they
wasn't that bad.
must not watch.
He's dreaming up all the movies. I love it.
Did you ever see a television thing called The Mission? That's wonderful. I really like that. Steven Spielberg's from one of his amazing stories.
I think I saw something like that one time on TV. I was watching it at home one day.
Where's your home? Where are you born?
Los Angeles. It's kind of outside of LA. So I'm still near home there.
Go to school. You still later?
No.
One more dream, then it would have had a better ending. And that dream would be of a little boy who never got to play the game. Only with his father in the front yard if he wasn't too tired when he came home from work. So the little boy who lives in USA, America, would come to the field of dreams with no name, no experience.
Very good. it on the. Reminded me of a character I'm playing. It was JFK. We've got 1, 2, 3. When you see this movie, you'll see.
You wanna show me 13 real
It's a
quick?
good thing you're not older.
Haven't been home for 3 months.
Well, I have, I came to.
Where'd the red pin go? He's gonna go ahead and sign it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
The red pin.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it a lot.
You're nine, you're nine. I know, but you've gotten busy and gotten a lot of. Because we told her she could.
I mean, unless you don't want it.
No, we'd love for it.
Yeah, tell her to wave her over.
Who's that?
Back up.
Who's down there, Mom?
Luana,
The one who made the pie, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come here.
I used to have a real nice tree there until we kept throwing the football in it. Killed it.
One more?
Okay.
I think I want you to see Ken Daniels.
Oh my God.
So right on the road.
Okay, let me read the other one.
Yeah, rewound already. That's why it's back to the
Chris, you
edge.
want these done?
Yeah,
If
he
you
doesn't
will.
mind,
Wait,
yeah.
Do you mind?
It's, the red pin's not really marking very
Okay,
well.
we got some more. Mom, we need a new pin. That red one says he's running out.
Black sharp.
Oh,
Well,
we don't
I
have
can
to
do
get
with
it.
the red.
Okay.
I've got a black.
Here, I'll do it with the red.
That one.
This
It's not, that's not working. That's not the very best kind of pen.
No, we just didn't work on signing. There we go.
It'd be a good pen, but it just doesn't work.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is
All
a
his
good
friends,
bit
all the
different
parties.
than,
Hello, hello.
I loved the California weather. It was
How long were you
perfect,
out
yeah. What, 3
How long
days?
were you out?
Not long.
3 fast days.
3 fast days, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Pop back on that jet. I'm not the only one that's been away from home. for a while.
Yeah, and we appreciate so much.
Yeah,
Your
the
type is
class,
really nice.
We appreciate it more than you know. No, it was really a wonderful thing to do. I guess it's, the world is unique that we can do this for each other. And you can touch so many people with what you say, Chad. Yeah. I don't have any critiques either. It's very good.
Nice. Standing ovation.
I think the only important thing is that you hear what you're saying, just because they hear it. Sometimes you go so fast, it's important that you hear it too, so that it never becomes automatic to you. It always stays personal to you, and sometimes if you hear it, then you know they hear it. It's just not a matter of being, sometimes when I do a scene, I have a real romantic notion about it, which is, when I do it, I say, this is the last time I'm ever going to do this scene, and I want to make it really special. It's a very fresh time, and so when I do the last time, I always say, this is the last time I'm going to do this scene, ever. It's going to be committed to film. I'll never get to do it again. And I think that always gives me enough inspiration to really take my time and to just enjoy it.
Well, you can't say that this guy hasn't enjoyed his 13th year.
It's been a good year for you, man.
It has been.
It's been our year. You had a good year, I had a good year.
Yeah.
That's a good year.
We just hope we keep following in your footsteps of having good years.
I'm sure you will. And Cal's having a good year, so it's a good threesome.
Yeah.
We're a good 1, 2, 3 lineup.
Okay. I think Jeff should sign this and give it to Kevin.
Okay,
How about that?
good.
Since you're a celebrity in your own right, Jeff.
Kidding.
Mom, did you get that camera?
What camera?
The one you had that was rewinding.
That has.
Oh, okay.
Before y'all leave,
Great.
we could get y'all together. If we get y'all scouting group together before y'all leave. Just
What's that?
Get you all four together.
Sure.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you being here.
Yeah. We do.
Get prom pictures with you.
Yeah. No, we do it in front of the fireplace.
Get that bouquet.
We always did it in front of the fire.
Yeah, we got it in front of the fireplace.
That bouquet. Or if the big tree was there.
Yeah.
Jeff's not gonna be in this one? I was gonna get you as a group. How about the Starlight? We don't want you to go there with them, dear.
Yeah.
We're recording everything. Sorry, we'll edit
Recording
it.
everything.
I know.
Everybody smile real big. There we go.
We get Jeff in here?
Yeah.
Let's get Jeff.
That'd be good.
Jeff, you gonna be a member of the crew there? Is that what you're doing? Okay, Jeff.
Flying back.
Yeah.
Does he want his hostess?
You might be heavy one of these days to keep that up. Might be heavy, for sure. I'd like to feel the brains for the best.
I wouldn't argue with that. Yeah.
Which movie are you gonna see?
He's gonna quiz you.
Fandango, Silverado.
Okay. Good to see that. If they don't have this story, you like making sure. If that doesn't happen, let us know. We'll get you out of town. Maybe.
Oh, 1 minute. What? They're in our. What?
It's in a pretty good.
What did we forget?
It's frozen Twinkies.
Oh. Oh, Jeff, you gotta hand it to him. That's great.
Did Dad get them? Yeah. All right. Why don't you go around to the other side?
Which freezer were they in, Mom? Which freezer were they in? Which? Oh.
They're already frozen.
Don't believe everything you read in these magazines.
Okay.
That's good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that topped it off just perfect, didn't it? What'd you say when you gave it to him?
Can I have one of those great?
You sure can. Yeah. Leave it right there.
Really good. Get the plates and let them cut
I'm
them.
going to.
Those are perfect.
There you go.
It does look pretty appetizing, you know.
I don't want to cut it.
Yeah. Get you
That one came out good.
You can have the first page.
Oh, we
Actual real buffalo.
we used 3,500 real buffaloes.
Really?
But we created 25 fake buffaloes.
Oh, that was it.
That was what we were looking at.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say 25 real buffaloes.
Who was the Indian lady you had on the
Can't do it.
Academy
Lots
Awards
of
show?
slices. They
She
took
was
us
she
it on
was
the plate.
an Indian lady that from South Dakota, wasn't she?
Doris Leader Church.
Uh-huh.
She was our, what do we call him? What?
Translator.
Translator.
Was she? But that was exciting early on the awards.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's exciting for all of us.
I bet. And
The dancing pool. So will it be like a mini series instead of a?
Yeah, well, you
It'll
watch
have
it
to be
like
4.5 hours.
like
Two nights.
2 or 3 nights of TV.
That'd be neat. We could definitely get that on. I'm talking to kids and adults. I'm talking to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders out in Killeen, Texas, and Waco, and
Now where do I
Tell me
go?
what to do, strawberry.
No, I don't eat strawberries, so I better get extra grapes, right?
We've got your extra grade. Remember, you took it off.
Yeah.
When we, there,
Oh, yes, ration.
yeah, ration.
I was at the car, and it's like I'm so excited to go.
Sarah, you sure you don't want it?
I don't want that kiwi. I don't want it.
Oh, this one doesn't have kiwi. You like us for the right one?
Wait, that's Chris's line, Jeff.
Yeah.
Talking about picky eaters.
Chris doesn't like kiwi or this.
Or Dances with Wolves?
Huh?
What do you say, doesn't like kiwi or Dances with Wolves?
No, or this or this or this or this.
I'm just a
Oh,
little
no.
sensitive, okay?
No, I don't think you'll find anybody in our family that didn't like that.
No,
No, we hadn't let him see that one. I beg, I mean, there are places that we do draw the line.
What are you saying about my movies? That my movies have to be drawn, I don't know.
We don't let him watch art yet.
Mm.
Some. So I said the only thing in the other one after we got past.
Of course, I've watched a lot and then had to leave in the middle.
To the cornfields to realize his dream. Doc Graham, who was never good enough to play in many games, came to fulfill his lifelong dream to get his only hit in the major leagues. But the last person to come to Ray's Field of Dreams was his own dad, John Kinsella. But the movie ended too soon. Perhaps had it fulfilled one more dream, then it would have had a better ending. And that dream would be of a little boy who never got to play the game come true. At the baseball park, they will lead us to believe that dreams are what life is made of. But at the American Heart Association, we have learned so well that life.
We read it on the very exciting. It reminded me of a character I'm playing. It was JFK. We're going 1, 2, 3. When you see this movie, you'll see.
You show me 13 real
It's a
quick.
good thing you're not older, Jeff. You'd probably be after my job.
Not a rather unusual young man. 13-year-old Jeff Nichols has much in common with other children his age, but what makes this gentleman unique is a heart condition. He's a
How did you drive on and go, hey, come on, it's okay. He's like, you know, if we shot him, we'd say, hey, come on. Everybody's just, no possible, no problem.
Yeah. Everybody, just the whole room. Yeah. Sorry about it.
Sugarfield. When I play.
This is a great mound right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have the mound.
That's
I used to have a real nice tree there till he kept throwing the football in it and killed it.
My dad used to come out and do that. That kept going hard.
Okay.
All right. Last one. Just strike.
You don't have to go the full 9 innings.
I just strike. Right.
He's winning.
And Oscar Wyatt.
Now we have a story about a rather unusual young man. 13-year-old Jeff Nichols has much in common with other children his age, but what makes this gentleman unique is a heart condition. He's been through one major operation. He faces several others. But in the meantime, he's become something of a celebrity down in Fort Bend County, as Stephen Govain tells us.
And now I introduce to you Jeff Nichols.
Well, guys, most of you would want to be on the speaking tour, too, if you had someone this beautiful introduce you.
Jeff Nichols has quickly developed a reputation as a public speaker who easily gets the attention of his audience. He does it with talent, and he does it with comedy.
3 weeks ago, I received a letter. It said, I quote, "Don't give up. There's a place in the world for little boys. I know that you can make it, because I did." It was from Dan Quayle. The day before yesterday, a card came in the mail and said, "If you see something you want, go for it. Be aggressive. Don't give up. Die hard. Saddam Hussein."
At home, this 7th grader at Quail Valley Middle School has typical interests. His physical activities are limited because he doesn't have the main blood vessel that carries blood from his heart to his lungs. Smaller blood vessels have to do the work. One has closed, others are beginning to close. Doctors want to do a single lung transplant in about 3 to 4 years if some new research doesn't come along first.
A lot of times I'll play ping pong, running back and forth on side, and get tired doing that, and sometimes you just have to sit down and do something, like play Nintendo and play board games, or just rest for a while.
Through contacts, Jeff made one speech, then another. This is his 3rd appearance, and he's got 4 more on his calendar. And some people have sent a tape of him to The Tonight Show in Hollywood.
I've always liked ABC better. Because Channel 13 has my 2 favorite comedy shows, America's Funniest Home Videos and Marvin Zindler.
But Jeff doesn't just reach his audience with comedy. He also has a deep message.
Because of your potential involvement in the American Heart Association, we were destined to meet.
Jeff's own topic for this speech is based on the field of dreams.
So I want to thank you for what you are doing and what you're building. Because of what you're building, myself and 1,000 more like me are able to come to our field of dreams. And the quiet little voice that you hear today says to you, if you will continue to build it, then we will come.
In Fort Bend County, Stephen Govain, 13 Eyewitness News.
What a wonderful young man. Isn't that something?
Fabulous. We wish him the very best.
Absolutely, and a great public speaker. Great jokes. I was writing a lot of them down.
And Marvin.
I don't know if Marvin laughed at that one. We thought that was pretty
I think he
funny.
did. Marvin's not too big to laugh at himself. Okay, Tim, we'll see you at 10 o'clock. Now, tonight we begin a new feature here on Eyewitness News, Our Person of the Week. Each week we'll introduce you to a person in the Houston area who is doing extraordinary things out in the community. Tonight, 13-year-old Jeff Nichols, a young man who is battling the odds to live a normal life.
Okay, Jeffrey, let's go, babe. Hey, what do you say right here?
To you and me, Jeff looks just like any other young man playing catch with his dad on the beach. But Jeff is not just like any other boy his age. Jeff has a heart condition that limits his physical activities. He was born without a pulmonary artery, the main blood vessel that carries blood from his heart to his lungs. In a few years, doctors would like to try a lung transplant. But right now, Jeff is making quite a name for himself on the lecture tour.
3 weeks ago, I received a letter. It said, I quote, "Don't give up. There's a place in the world for little boys. I know that you can make it, because I did." It was from Dan Quayle. The day before yesterday, a card came in the mail and said, if you see something you want, go for it. Be aggressive. Don't give up. Die hard. Saddam Hussein.
Speaking on behalf of the Heart Association, Jeff has traveled to many cities in Texas.
Well, my main story is like from the Field of Dreams, the movie, saying to the adults, if you will continue to build it, then we will come. And that's telling them if they will continue to donate and help us, that we will come. And to the kids, I say that if you will have courage, then you may come.
Jeff has become so good at his stand-up comedy routine that he was invited to Hollywood and The Tonight Show. But he was bumped at the last minute. But that's okay with Jeff.
I've always liked ABC better. Because Channel 13 has my two favorite comedy shows, America's Funniest Home Videos and Marvin Zindler.
Jeff's message to everyone is hope, determination, and courage.
Steph, good morning. 24 speeches ago, Jeff Nichols spoke here. Those of you that were here remember Jeff. You remember the laughter and you remember the tears. What Jeff remembers most about you is your appreciation. Your praise and ovation enabled Jeff to leave here with a message and a mission. Since then, he's been about as busy as Miss America. Although he hasn't met her personally, I think he's met many people who have. His travels have taken him to places like Hollywood, where he met Jay Leno at The Tonight Show. Kevin Costner had nothing better to do one day, so he landed a Warner Brothers jet at Hull Airport, stopped by Jeff's home, and visited. You may remember Jeff's speech. It was called The Field of Dreams. Well, Kevin Costner first had a movie by the same name. He came by Jeff to see why the speech was doing better than his movie. Jeff spoke on a twin bill a few weeks ago with Jim McElville of Gallery Furniture. Jim was so impressed with Jeff that he asked him to do a TV commercial with him soon. Can you see that? Mattress Jeff? You've probably seen Jeff on television or read about him in the press. And today, the prodigal son returns home, back to his point of origin, to where he gave his very first speech. So I give you now Jeff Nichols.
Thank you very much. Not only for this appreciation, but for the appreciation of 1 year ago. It gave me hope. It gave me hope that I could get well. It gave me hope that I could encourage others. Whenever anybody would call me and ask me to speak, your lavish appreciation would echo in my mind, and it was easy to say yes. People have asked me if I've gotten tired of speaking so much. I can only say that you would speak until you were old in age if you had someone this beautiful to introduce you each time. I will probably be old in age before I can ever express my appreciation to Sarah Smith for all that she has done for me and for the American Heart Association this past year. When she called upon me to speak here last year, I was just a skinny little kid with a heart problem. Now 1 year later, only 1 year later, I'm still just a skinny little kid with a heart problem. But more people than ever know that I am skinny, and more people know that I have a heart problem, and more know that the American Heart Association makes a difference. Sarah's been very encouraging to me, which has helped me to go on. Wherever I've gone, she's been there to introduce me, and together we have told our story. She's been very giving of herself and her time. But you know, most of all, Sarah has the quality that I admire the most in a lady. She loves me. If the definition of a heart volunteer is encouraging, giving, and loving, then Sarah Smith is a real good volunteer. As Sarah mentioned, I've been able to travel and meet some real special people this past 12 months, and some still ahead of me. There's been Jay Leno of The Tonight Show. I also discovered that Doc Severson doesn't always wear funny clothes, and that Jay really doesn't have a square chin. It only looks that way because his face is shaped like a trapezoid. Kevin Costner, who stole the name of my speech for one of his movies, came to my house a few months ago. Now there's a real class guy for you. Most of the guys I know like him, and all the girls. As soon as you meet him, you realize that wolves are probably not the only thing he's danced with. There's probably been a few foxes along the way too. Then there's Mattress Mac, the up-and-coming star of TV and radio. who has single-handedly saved the people of Houston more money than they have a right to expect. He has done it with one simple philosophy. If your mattress is over 6 weeks old, throw it out and come to Gallery Furniture. Mr. Mack asked me to do a TV commercial. The only holdup is waiting on a mattress that fits my size 2 body. People magazine, who is present with us today, is taking a real chance on doing a story on me, especially hot on the heels of Cheerleader Mom and the Robert Sackowitz family feud. So far, the American Heart Association hasn't hired anybody to kill me, nor have they asked me to manage their assets. So I don't possibly see how they can come with a sellable story. As you're aware, things don't just happen. People make them happen. And being able to travel and meet the special people are due to the tireless efforts of one lady. I think the reason that she has helped work for me so much is because my name is Jeff. Her husband's name is Jeff. Her brother's name is Jeff. And her dog is Jeff. So it is only natural that I fit in there somewhere. Allison Connor, who recently married Jeff McShann of Channel 13 sports fame, works for the Heart Association in Houston. She was here last year when I gave my speech. Since then, she's been tireless in her effort and lavish in her praise to have my message shared with other people, groups, and organizations. But you know, she too has the quality that I admire the most in a lady. She also loves me. It gives me great pleasure to have Mrs. Allison Connor McShann stand to be recognized for her tireless efforts for the American Heart Association. I would not want to let this time pass without thanking you for the dedication of your yearbook in my behalf. You have a way of sending sunshine, and I want you to know I appreciate you. Before I close, I want to tell you about Jean Gates. But before I begin, there's another special lady in the audience here with us today. She heard one of my speeches earlier this year. Then she later told me about her brother, Jean Gates. I asked her if I could tell this story whenever I gave my speech, and she said that I could, but that she would like to hear it. Although I have told this story many times, today will be her first time to hear me tell it. So it is a great honor that she has granted my request, and it is a great privilege that I ask her to stand as I introduce to you Vicki Holland. Jean Gates was born April 11th. He had a heart problem, probably much like mine. He loved to play baseball, but the doctor said no. He persisted and persisted and persisted, but the doctor refused. Finally, after much more persistence, they agreed to let him play on a limited basis. There would be no uniforms, no grandstands, and no PA system, just recess at school. But to Gene, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. As Gene stepped up to take his first swing in the bat, his thoughts were most likely about the Hall of Fame, home runs, and applause and appreciation. As his bat connected and he saw the ball travel to the outfield, dreams were now becoming realities. As he rounded first base, he saw that there were extra bases in order. Not bad for the first time at bats. As he rounded second, going to third, the realization that all things are possible. A late throw, off the mark, and zingo, he might even score. But between third and home plate, the real truth was about to be told. It would now be a matter of timing. The throw was on its way to the plate. Gene knew the ball was coming. It's a sixth sense that athletes have during crunch time. He knew that he would have to come in sitting down. That's what they call it when you try to slide under a throw. He had seen it done many times. Now it would be his turn. During the next instant, 4 things would happen. 3 of them would be as planned. First, there'd be a cloud of dust. And second, the ump would call the runner safe. And third, his teammates would clap and cheer because they were happy. They're happy because it was a home run. They're happy because it was his first time at bats. And they're happy because it was his first game ever. When his teammates came to dust him off and pat him on the back, they were not prepared for what they had found. The hero was still guarding the plate, almost like he didn't want to give it up. The laughter and applause gave way to silence as the teacher called for an ambulance. It was later determined that when Gene slid into home plate, he suffered a heart attack. And on the way to the hospital, in the ambulance, he died. Probably the last thing that Gene Gates remembered in his life was a home run. It was April 1st, 1952, at Clarksville, Mississippi. He was only 9 years old. Now I tell you this story for only one reason, and that is to remind you of the great advancements that have taken place for research for heart disease during the last 38 years. And much of this research would not have been possible had it not been for the help of the American Heart Association. So I stand before you today as a byproduct of what you're all about. And having been able to borrow time from the future, my life is evidence that what you're all about is working. Perhaps it was the attitude of the American Heart Association that John Donne had in mind over 200 years ago when he wrote these words. Whenever a man dies, I am diminished because I am involved in mankind. Every man is a part of the continent, a part of the main. For no man is an island, entire of himself. If you never know anything else about Jeff Nichols, know that he will never be an island. I live today because of research, cardiologists, surgeons, hospital care, and the help of the American Heart Association. I am encouraged today because of the Sarah Smiths and the Allison McShans of our time. I am diminished today because of the Gene Gates of the world that never made this far. If Hemingway were here today, he might say, even to me, never search to know for whom the bell tolls. I know because of you, because of your involvement in mankind. I know as I go in search of my field of dreams, I know that the bell tolls for me.